I've heard throughout my lifetime from African Americans, no, what goes on in this house stays in this house. Why do you need to go to a head shrink? You don't need to do that. And the Lord's gonna fix it, and he's gonna take care of it, and he's gonna make it all better. That's all well and fine, and that's true. I am a woman of faith, and I wholeheartedly believe in what God can do and how God can heal you. However, he does put people on this earth that can help you navigate through those different challenges that you may be facing.
It's the all-new Valley Gold with Debórah. This is the show that brings you the stars, the stories, and the performances. You'll see familiar faces, and you'll get to learn more about how they do what they do. Today, Debórah chops it up with preacher's kid, nurse, and life coach Stacy Blackwell. So stay tuned. Debórah has great features for you on the all-new Valley Gold with Debórah. Stay tuned for our Legends Music Moment. Special delivery. That's what each newborn baby is in the hands of your team in the village. Dr. Rodney Hill and his professional staff of nurse practitioners, conveniently located on 5th Avenue in Youngstown, open weekdays and Saturdays. Call today. Whether it's Motown, Philly Soul, Stax, Solar, Savoy, you name it, people from every nation love old school rhythm and blues music. Now I hope you enjoy.
I was a fool to ever leave your side. Me minus you is such a lonely ride. The breakup we had has left me lonesome and sad. I realize I love you 'cause I want you back. Hey, hey. I spent the evening with a radio. Regret the moment that I let you go. Our quarrel was such a way of learning so much. I realize I love you 'cause I want you touch. Hey, hey. Reunited and it feels so good. Reunited 'cause we understood. There's a one perfect fit and sugar. This one is it. We both are so excited 'cause we reunited. Hey, hey.
Up next, it's all about the love on Valley Gold with Debórah. Trust, dignity, and peace of mind. These are the qualities you look for when planning the memorial service of a loved one. L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home is the name families have come to rely on for pre-need planning, grief support, financial guidance, and compassion during life's most difficult time. Located at 1951 McGuffey Road in Youngstown, in the time of need, it's L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home, still caring for the memories most cherished by you. Welcome back to the show. We live in a day and time where many people just can't seem to figure out how to build the kind of relationship that will last a lifetime. Well, my next guest is all about the love. His name is Jason Hairston. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Hello, Debórah. It's always a pleasure. So in this segment, we're going to talk about how important it is to maintain your individuality within a relationship, okay? So before you enter a relationship, you are who you are. You have your interests, okay? And when you come into a relationship, you shouldn't have to sacrifice who you are to be in the relationship. And if you find yourself sacrificing who you are, it will automatically lead to resentment. When you're in a relationship, there may have to be compromise, but it's a joint union of coming together, but also being separate at the same time. But both of those things have to be in balance, okay? Because if we don't embrace our own individuality and we get so sucked into the concept of the relationship, we lose sight of who we are. And if you lose sight of who you are, you can't be your gift that you are to the world.
Y'all need to help her. Somebody help Debórah. Help Debórah. Somebody help her.
Every engine lover knows that sweet sound of an engine that is ready to race. This car was made ready at the Predator Zone. The Predator Zone is Northeast Ohio's only test and tune track. 330 feet of track with reaction time. Our track will pull your teeth out. Located on Youngstown's east side, grand opening in April. Before you put that car in the race, make an appointment at the Predator Zone.
I am never going to give up on creating a healthy fruit pie recipe. So y'all might as well just get with the program, because this is fruit pie number 2000. Check it out. Hi. Don't look so surprised. I made a dessert. Oh, that's right. Wow. Have a seat. So now I'm gonna cut them a piece here. So far, so good. You know, the last time I did this on camera, the spatula wouldn't go down into the pan. So here we go. See what I mean?
Definitely needs a blessing.
You don't know what it needs.
Okay.
We bless everything.
Yes,
this is nothing different.
This requires a triple, maybe a quadruple blessing.
My hand's gonna be sore before this is over with, clearly. You taste it first.
Is this oat?
You're starting to turn your face up.
Is this oatmeal? Let me put it this way. It's an acquired taste, and it may take a while to acquire. Yeah, this is much better than that lemon meringue pie that you...
I didn't say lemon meringue, I just said...
It's much better than that lemon meringue pie you attempted to make.
Up next, it's Keeping It Fresh on Valley Gold with Debórah.
The outage started just after 3:30 this afternoon, spreading across the Northeast.
Our choices define us, makes us who we are, who you choose to become.
We can't stay here, okay? We need to leave right now. Are you sure you want to do this? Yeah, absolutely.
Keeping it fresh for us today is a gorgeous, melanin-rich beauty named Ashley All Smiles. Ashley is the quintessential beauty stylist, so from head to shoulders, she's gonna show us how to keep it fresh.
Hi, Debórah. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing me with your viewers. I am Ashley All Smiles, and today I would like to talk about smoking. Yeah, smoking. Not that kind of smoking, but your eyes. That's right, a smoky eye. Let's get into it. I am going to show you how I keep it fresh with a basic black smoky eye. Check it out.
Stay tuned as Debórah chops it up with PK and life coach Stacy Blackwell. Special delivery. That's what each newborn baby is in the hands of your team in the village. Dr. Rodney Hill and his professional staff of nurse practitioners, conveniently located on 5th Avenue in Youngstown, open weekdays and Saturdays. Excellent prenatal care is what helps ensure a healthy baby. So for the best women's health, reproductive and prenatal care, you'll want to be in the hands of Dr. Rodney Hill, Mama Carol, and Nurse Sin. They're your team in the village where every delivery is special. In America, we've often said preachers' kids, or PKs, are some of the most misbehaved children who grow up to be arrogant and entitled adults that look to be served rather than to serve others. Today, we're going to take a look inside that world with a young woman who grew up in a glass house as the daughter of a renowned minister, and yet she found the grace to be a compassionate human being in spite of all the challenges that have come her way. Let's welcome to Valley Gold with Debórah, my special guest and friend, Stacy Blackwell. Welcome to the show, Stacy.
Thank you for having me, Debórah. I appreciate it.
This is all my pleasure. So we're going to get right into it. So growing up, preacher's kid,
yes,
renowned minister,
yes,
and your father having established a number of ministries. Mm-hmm. So life in a fishbowl. Can you tell us something about what that was like?
At the time, and this is, we're living in a different time now, and things are much different with children, with PKs. At the time, my parents grew up Pentecost, so there were a lot of restrictions that they grew up with that they kind of transferred onto us. So for instance, we did go to the movies, but pants in church wasn't really something that the women would do. Very little makeup. Now, of course, my mother wore makeup, but nails out to here, all the rhinds. We weren't doing all that back then. Mm-hmm. So, things were kind of a little more restrictive. We weren't really going to dances like in junior high or high school. We didn't really do that. So it was pretty restrictive. Now, as of course years went on, then those restrictions lessened. Okay, so let's talk about the restrictions. Okay. Because we've seen many PKs who grew up under the same kinds of restrictions, and then they did what they went buck wild. They wilding out, wilding out.
Right, but you guys didn't do that. And so how was it different in your household? How did you not feel like you wanted to rebel? And a lot of what you saw, probably some of your peers.
Because my parents are crazy. And my mama was crazy. And at the time, they were, they're loving parents. But they also disciplined. And that's part of loving your children, is giving them, pulling some of those reins.
Boundaries.
Giving them boundaries, absolutely. So when we stepped out of bounds, outside the boundary, then we either got a talking to, or we got spankings, which people don't do anymore, for fear of whatever, calling 696 or whoever. But 696, my parents laughed at that. So they grew up and they taught us with the philosophy of how you read in the Bible. You spare the rod, you spoil the child. Mm-hmm. So my parents did not spare that rod with any of us.
But you guys grew up happy children. You didn't grow up like you were abused. You didn't feel abused.
No, I don't think we were deprived in any way at all. It's just, some of the things that our peers might have been doing, we just didn't do, and we found other ways to enjoy ourselves, either amongst ourselves or with friends at our church group. I don't feel I missed out on anything, or felt my parents held me back in any way, or held us back in any way. As they grew and knew more and learned more, and as we grew and became a little more comfortable in our own skin, then things changed and you evolve. One of the good things and one of the blessings in all of this, and being in the ministry and watching my parents being in the ministry and growing up as pastors' kids, one thing I'm grateful for, my parents always kept a home.
Okay.
And you will hear, if you have not heard my dad say, he has always said throughout his ministry when he's preaching, he always told my mother, I will always have a marriage before I have a ministry.
That's good.
And he kept to that. He kept to that promise, and he kept to his word. So as a result, my dad did travel a lot while we were growing up. However, my parents made a point of stating, my dad, and making a rule, my dad was always home for birthdays and holidays.
Okay.
So there was not one birthday that he missed. There was not one holiday that he was not home for.
And that's saying something for 4 kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And 4 kids, wanting to be in different activities, So that was probably the blessing and something that I can appreciate that my parents established for us.
Trust, dignity, and peace of mind. These are the qualities you look for when planning the memorial service of a loved one. L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home is the name families have come to rely on for pre-need planning, grief support, financial guidance, and compassion during life's most difficult time. Located at 1951 McGuffey Road in Youngstown, in the time of need, it's L.E. Black Phillips and Holden Funeral Home, still caring for the memories most cherished by you.
Every engine lover knows that sweet sound of an engine that is ready to race. This car was made ready at the Predator Zone. The Predator Zone is Northeast Ohio's only test and tune track. 330 feet of track with reaction time. Our track will pull your teeth out. Located on Youngstown's east side, grand opening in April. Before you put that car in the race, make an appointment at the Predator Zone.
And we're back on Valley Gold with Debórah and my special guest, Stacy Blackwell. So let's get into how you have evolved into the wonderful woman that you are.
Thank you.
Your mom was a nurse anesthetist. I always struggle with that word.
Nurse anesthetist.
Anesthetist, thank you.
So she gave anesthesia.
Yes, there you go.
Yes.
She put people to sleep.
She put people to sleep before surgery. Yes.
So, okay, and then you followed into her footsteps to some extent in terms of going into the nursing field.
Absolutely.
But your field of choice was?
My background or my background or experience has been PICU, which is pediatric intensive care.
Okay.
It's also NICU, which is neonatal intensive care with the newborns or the babies.
Okay.
And also, I did surgery, pediatric surgery, for a small stint of time. And I do mean small. Didn't like it, so I got out of it quickly. Went back to the PICU, and then left the PICU and did case management.
So what was it about nursing, first of all, other than the example that your mom set, but what was it about nursing that you felt you were called to?
I enjoyed kids. I enjoyed kids and babies, and I wanted to take care of them, serve them, make them feel better. So I other than my mom being in nursing, she was, of course, a lot of the reason why I went into nursing. So I loved kids.
So being in pediatric intensive care, were there any things about that you found especially difficult or challenging or even heartbreaking?
It was probably more heartbreaking with the neonatal intensive care. So the neonatal population, that was probably a little more heartbreaking.
Can you give an example of
those
why?
were babies. At the time when I was working there, we would sign up to be, if we thought a baby was going to be there for a long period of time, we would sign up to be their primary. So that meant every time I worked, I would have this child as my assignment, one of my assignments. So through that, you get to know the parents and you establish a bond with them. So it is heartbreaking because there were a couple times where I did see a baby pass and not make it. So you do take that stuff home with you. So it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to separate. But because some of them are there for so long, you do establish a bond with the family. And you do get to know them, and you do, allow them to come into your personal life, and you're in their, they allow you into their personal life as well. So sometimes it is hard to separate, and it gets a little challenging and difficult. But
so you were in nursing, and that was the career that you loved for decades, and then you had an abrupt life change that took you out of the field and brought you into, shall we call it, your second wind career?
Yes.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how Stacy went from nursing, a field that she absolutely loved, into her second win career, doing something that she also loves. Right back with Stacy Blackwell on Valley Gold with Debórah after this.
The outage started just after 3:30 this afternoon, spreading across the Northeast.
Our choices define us, makes us who we are. Who will you choose to become?
We can't stay here, okay? We need to leave right now. Are you sure you want to do this? Yeah. Absolutely.
It's the all-new Valley Gold with Debórah. Now when you watch, let's not be selfish about it by keeping it all to yourself. Show me and your friends some love by sharing the links and leaving comments. Tell me what you think. I absolutely love reading remarks from our viewers. Now, stay tuned, because we're going to keep this party going. We're back with Stacy Blackwell. So moving into what you're doing now, Stacy, as I mentioned before the break, you came to a wall, shall we say, in nursing where you could no longer practice nursing.
Correct.
So you want to share about that?
Sure. So now I'm technically still a nurse because I still keep an active license. However, I had my own personal medical challenges, and I've had to have a few surgeries on my eyes within the last few years. And I've had quite a few surgeries, but within the last few years, I've had a few. And what I thought was going to help me, and it did, don't get me wrong, it did help. I just did not recover like I thought and my doctors thought I would recover. So it was a lot of up and down, and it led me to leaving a job at Cleveland Clinic where I worked for a couple years. And what was supposed to be a 2-week recovery, it ended up, I had to be on FMLA, which turned into short-term disability, which turned into long-term disability, which was not expected. I did not expect that. So while I was out, I thought, well, when I do go back to the workforce, when I do go back into the hospital, let me just have something else on my resume. So I decided to expand myself by becoming a certified health and life coach. After I received my certificate for becoming a health and life coach, 2 weeks later, my mother passed. So that was a huge and devastating loss for myself and for my family. It was not expected at all. It was very unexpected. And I felt as if my life was shattered at that point. I felt as if I was looking at my life now as a blank canvas. I had no faith. I had no hope. And it was a struggle. It was hard. It was hard. I'm not gonna paint a pretty picture because it was hard. It was difficult. And like I said, I was at a point where my faith was even in crisis, and my faith was challenged because I thought what I thought was going to be for my mother, it wasn't, and I had, we had prayed for my mother and asked for healing and all, the things that Christians do and believe for. And it wasn't that way, like the Bible says, his ways are not our ways. And his way of healing my mother, God's way of healing my mother, was not our way. And it was hard. It was very difficult for me and my family. So it was just a matter of getting back to that place of faith and hope, and also with the support of family, support of friends, counseling that I went through to help me see that blank canvas that I saw as my life was just an opportunity for me to rewrite my life story now.
So now Stacy is at a place, a pivotal point now where, yes, she's still mourning, but she realizes that she has to go on, and you now have the strength to do that.
Yes.
Tell us what your business is, and also define for us what a health and life coach is.
So basically, a health and life coach is somebody that can help coach you through to get you to whatever goal you have. So whether it's a goal of weight loss, whether it's a goal of just wanting more energy, whether it's a goal of wanting to eat better, or it could be goals that you have in your life, finances, spiritual, relationship. And a lot of times I find in health coaching and in coaching and just in talking to people, a lot of times there's a why behind the why. And that's what I try to pull out of people. It's caring for people, but in a different way now.
As we're wrapping up, Stacy, is there any advice that you would want to give, or just any words that you would want to give to somebody who maybe felt that their life and their life's plan had been totally derailed?
I would say, I was talking to my sister one day, and she was reading a book, and she read a quote to me, and it resonated with me because it was my life exactly. And what I would say to you, I'm going to try to quote this correctly, and say, sometimes you have to accept the death of what you thought your life would be in order for your life to begin. So I would definitely encourage you. A lot of times you make plans and you have this vision of what you thought your life was going to be. And when through twists and turns, through delays, through detours, things don't happen the way you think. But there's still a purpose and a plan for your life. So, but you have to accept what you thought what was, and have to accept the death of that vision in order for your life to begin. And a lot of times when you find your life again and you begin again, a lot of times you'll find out it will be better than you thought. So please stay encouraged.
Thank you, Stacy. And one more thing.
Yes.
How can our viewers get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me. I am on Instagram.
Let's give your Instagram handle.
My Instagram is Black Diamond HNW. So Black Diamond Harry Nancy William.
Okay.
Or Stacy Blackwell 19@gmail.com.
Very good. Well, I want to thank my wonderful guest, Stacy Blackwell, for being on the show. She shared great insight, and we just look for all the best with you and your new business. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And until next time, that's it for Valley Gold with Debórah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.